While you do that, I'm gonna let you talk while I switch over to her presentation.
Okay.
You're doing good, Jim.
Thanks. Our speaker today was hired by our very own Jonathan Brown last November, and I think that he has made an excellent choice. A couple of weeks ago, Jared was talking about we need to be more culturally diverse and expand our horizons, and so I immediately thought about this program because the community college is way ahead of us. Our speaker today is Monica Belfer, and she earned her undergraduate degree at Wake Forest and her graduate degree in education in Spain. Did you have to speak at the time in English or what?
All Spanish.
Oh goodness, all right, I'm in trouble. Okay, Monica wanted to move back to this part of the state to be closer to her dad and brothers and sister-in-law and niece. She's previously worked with children that cross the borders by themselves as an adjunct Spanish instructor at a college in Colorado, at a children's advocacy center, as a hospital interpreter and intake specialist, and in Durham. And most recently, she was the Davidson County Library as the Hispanic Services Coordinator. So I would like to, okay, Jonathan's going to add some more to that. So yeah, and here's Jonathan.
Thank you, Jane. So I just wanted to kind of let everybody know how we got to where we are today, and I think that's important. When I came on to the college, the first thing I noticed is we did not have a lot of diversity when it came to including our Hispanic Latino community. And I'll give you some examples. When we were dealing with enrollment admissions, we had nobody on our campus besides maybe our Spanish instructors who spoke Spanish. So there was always a language barrier. So I had a conversation with our great president, Dr. Hartness, about, okay, what can we do to be more inclusive to our Latino and Hispanic community? And it was interesting, I brought to the table, when we look at our demographics in our service area, and which would be Davidson and Davie County, that is our fastest growing demographic right now. So, you know, from my public education background, you know, I never got to pick my team, as they say. So we serve all, and all means all. So if you're going to do that, I think you have to include people, you have to be welcoming, and you have to give people opportunities that otherwise they wouldn't have. So interestingly, Monica was hired. She actually applied for another job at the college, and I kind of stole her away from the admission side. And I said she would be a great fit to start what we call our Latino programs. So it is a very broad program, as you will see. We're kind of building the plane as we're going down the runway. But in the last probably 8 months or so, we've made significant progress within the community. She has been able to get out there and network. We've got great partnership with Novant, as you'll hear today, Light of the World Church, and we're really doing some positive things for that community. So I'm going to turn it over to Monica and let her speak about all the things she has going on. Monica.
Gracias, Jonathan. Buenas tardes a todos. Me han dicho que ustedes hablan español también, así que voy a hacerlo todo en español. I said, good afternoon to everyone. They told me everybody speaks Spanish in here, so I'm just going to do it all in Spanish, if that works for you. I'm just kidding. Jonathan actually, and Jane actually introduced me with the good majority of my information. I was born in Winston-Salem, and my family calls me their gypsy child because I have lived on both coasts, and in Spain I lived there for about 5 years. My friend said it was time for me to go home when we would go out and people wouldn't realize that I wasn't a Spaniard. I figured out if you bought the right shoes and if you talk fast enough, you fit right in. So once I got to that point, I did actually want to stay there, but I came back in 2008 when our economy was a little worse than it is right now, and hopefully won't get to that same point again. But I'm glad I'm back because I actually moved. I lived in multiple states before coming back here, but I most recently was in Durham, North Carolina. I lived there for 10 years. And my brother and sister-in-law had a baby last May, and I didn't want to miss out on seeing her grow up. So I finally said, it's time to move back. to Winston-Salem area. And so I'm really excited to be here. I'm getting used to the small town feel though, for sure. So as you can tell, my title is the Community Engagement Latino Programs Director. I actually learned Spanish when I was in high school. I started volunteering and tutored kids at an elementary school where all their parents were migrant workers. And they actually taught me more than I taught them. So that's how I actually started. But for some reason, I don't have a gringa accent like I should, which is great. But it also is sometimes confusing to people because I'm see-through white and they're not expecting me to speak to them perfectly fine. So it's entertaining. I really do enjoy working with the Latino community. They're so welcoming to me. Everybody's always so kind. I did set up one of my experiments with communicating with the public. I set up my desk phone and my WhatsApp account so you can text me at my office number, or you can send me a message through WhatsApp on there. So if you guys aren't sure what that is, you can give it a try. So as Jonathan was saying, this has been something that's been in the works for a little while. And this is how they told me it kind of started for my program. They changed the name, they changed the colors. They like the hot orange instead of the white. The college reorganized. This is all in the past few years. And Jonathan started not long before I did. He started in January of last year. So he got a new job and he was looking at the statistics. So this is the interactive part. I don't know if y'all want to participate with this, but you can if you want to. You can take a picture with your phone and scan this in. We're going to look at the statistics. And this is what Jonathan was talking about. We'll see if this works. So you can scan it in with your phone, or you can go to tinyurl.com. I made it a short link.
You open your camera and just push on the phone. You'll recognize it. Don't take a picture.
Just click your screen before it takes the picture. All right, you guys tell me, is it working? Can you see the first question? All right, so the first question, it should say, the number of Latino residents in Davidson County per the 2021 census. So you guys tell us how many you see, and hopefully we can see that up here. I think I can do that on the computer here too, but you take your guesses and I'll tell you if you're right. I'll give you 5 more seconds. This is like a law school exam. All right, so if you answered 12,700, you're pretty darn close, because that's the answer, the correct answer per my edited statistics. So 12,700 people that actually responded to the census, that actually wanted to tell your full name, your address, your date of birth, all your personal information. So it's probably actually, I think they should have just counted cell phones instead of making you take the census, because that would have been more realistic. But 12,700 answered it. All right, so let's see if this next one will work. The next question is, you should be able to see, you should be able to see the next question, number of Latino residents in Davie County per the 2021 census. The choices are 2,600, 3,200, 1,500, 4,200. I think more you guys are answering now. We'll give you a couple more seconds. So it's not, about half of you got this about half you got this right. I think you might be cheating. You might have gone to the website, the census website, instead of this thing. Jonathan told me it was a smart room, but I'm hoping not. Anyway, it's if you put in 3,200, that's about as many as actually answered the census, again, in Davie County, that were willing to answer all your personal information at a time when might not have been so comfortable giving everybody all your personal information. All right, let's see if this next one, hopefully now you're seeing how many of these residents take Davidson-Davie Community College classes. The choices are a good number, about as many as you'd think. This is a trick question or not enough according to JB. And I'm seeing, you guys are geniuses. It says 100% of you answered not enough according to JB. Absolutely right. So I actually do have the statistics up here if you want to see where I got that from, because we're a college, we should teach you with correct information. But I think this video explains it better. So Jonathan had a good idea. Let's see if this plays for me. Let's see if it, hold on. How can I get it? It's a movie.
Yeah, let's see. Let's try this. This one, right?
Yep. There it is.
She may not be working.
So he had a good idea. And it says in the movie, he, they, same thing, close enough. But he actually thought, so his department obviously is the continuing education department. And he said we could offer more. He was looking at the capitalization of Latino residents. So are they living up to their potential, or is the college living up to its potential given what is offered? And his response was, not so much. So I'm teaching you some Spanish up here too. Quizás is maybe. So he said maybe we could add more programs, more someone. At first, he didn't tell you this part. They told me that he got told no. They said there's not enough money for that. And then I applied for 2 admissions positions. I interviewed 4 times. Everyone talked to me. I think I don't know how many people I talked to. So then people went back and they reworked his idea. They revisited it. I applied again for a new position. They interviewed me 3 more times. And then I finally got offered a new position. So that means he can't fire me, because that would be a whole lot of wasted time interviewing me. And they also know me probably better than some of my friends, because who interviews for a job 7 times? So I switched over, I started, and his approach was different than most people would have expected. And some of my coworkers, I'm new, so I'm like, cool, let's try this. Let's see what happens. Some of my coworkers were like, what? He's not training you. You're not getting formal training. This is not how this is supposed to be going. And he was very intentional with it. He knew what he wanted. He knew what it should look like. He was principal teacher for how long? He knew what the community looked like, what it should have. So he intentionally didn't have me shadow others. He would check in. He was like, this is what I want from you. This is the goal. These are the goals. Go. Let's see what happens. He would suggest contacts with me. He would help me set up, I'm telling him I need to find out this, who's the best person for that. He knew who the college experts were in each area. But he also knew we don't need to be reinventing the wheel. So one of our first, actually the only road trip we've taken, I want to take more road trips, but the road trip we took was to Lenore Community College. He was a good driver in the van, if anybody wants to ride with him over there again. we went to see what they have, because they have had a similar position and a similar approach to college for their community, which is similar to our community. It's not the same, obviously, but it's really similar. So this is what he was looking for. And this is what he realized we'd be able to get when we went to Lenore Community College and talked to them, and we asked the questions that needed to be asked. He was like, yes, we need Kim Kardashian handing out money in FTE. And I actually didn't even know what FTE was. To me, I was thinking like students, like how many students do I have to get? He's like, he had to explain it to me a couple times. But once I pictured in my head, I got it. But I think that's a pretty appropriate image for you to keep in mind. So in all seriousness, or more or less, we've been wanting to, and the college wants to make college accessible to everyone. Why? Because it'll make our society better. I don't know if any of you have tried to apply for college lately, but you have to do a whole lot of paperwork, and you have to have a whole lot of information about your parents, background, money. I mean, like it's a lot. And if you're coming from a home that's not used to those kinds of applications, is very intimidating. So I didn't make a Slido statistic for this, because the Slido was only free for 3 questions. And I'm too cheap to actually pay for that. So tell me, how many do you think for last year, how many percent of DDC students were of Latino or Hispanic? 7, 4, 5, 3. We calculated 8%. So we're a little bit above what the community answered in the census. But again, that's what people actually answered to the census. So we're probably spot on. So we wanted to decrease the underground economy. As you can see, underground economy is sometimes not so good. You get haircuts that are crazy. You might get different situations you're not expecting. If people aren't certified in important fields like electrical, HVAC, all those kinds of things that colleges can train you for and make sure you're appropriately installing around the country. And sometimes you just need a little bit of help. Like you're on track, sorta, not really. So that's how I think of my position. I'm there to help coach people along, find out what they're looking for, and help get them where they want to be. You need someone, this is from Malcolm Gladwell, I really love his books. You need someone to take an interest in you if you want education to work and be fair. So this is, if you're not a reader, this is, you can listen to it on a podcast, and also for free, as I put with your library card. On that app Hoopla, which I actually love. I'm kind of a nerd. But we've been working on creative problem solving, teamwork, understanding family dynamics. When you work with families that, for the most part, it's not everybody obviously, but most have one car, they have different habits, they have different time availability, especially if you're working to get as much money as possible, not only to support your family here, but sometimes family back home. And so you have to keep that in mind when you're offering programs. You want to offer them when it's best for the public. So I actually had a lady tell me, I did not think this place was for me at the college. And that really made me sad. She said, we knew this was here, but I didn't think I was allowed to come here. So I have been meeting, gente is in Spanish is people. My first attempt was an exercise group after ESL classes. I sent this to Jonathan thinking he might laugh at me, but he didn't. He said, actually, that's what Lenore talked about, making people feel welcome, make them feel part of the community. So that's what I started with. And my goal was for the people that came and met me was to feel I belong here. And, you know, Monica's waiting for me. Monica's here to help me. This place is a place for me. So this lady, she didn't know I took this picture. She'd probably kill me, but this was her first time on a treadmill. She didn't know how it worked. And I thought that was fantastic. So I took her picture. This is actually at Luce's location. We took one of the ESL classes there to see how fast and efficient they were with packing cans and setting up lunches, and they loved it. They thought it was fantastic. So that's one of my things I would like to see if we can explore: bilingual English speakers and Spanish speakers getting together, learning from each other and doing community service. So I'm working on setting up a class like that. I don't know if it'll work, but maybe. And then this was another guy that I met. He came into my exercise group. It's a bunch of women, but he wasn't shy. He does amazing AutoCAD renderings online. And I wouldn't have met him if I didn't make up an exercise group. Like, it's a strange thing, but it worked out. So he's going to be teaching some classes with us, hopefully. What I have been doing is small business workshops in Spanish in April and June, inviting community partners to come and talk, asking who should be the ones advising other people in the community about how to build your small business. And if you talk to people that speak Spanish, a lot of them will always have either a main gig or a side gig. So I've also been going to community and school events. These are at 2 different schools. What we're going to try next is CPR classes with Efrain and Amada. Amada works at Davidson Medical Ministries. Efrain is Atalia's husband. He's a firefighter in Lexington. So there's no talking with Judy. There's no Spanish classes offered around here. And the ones I got in touch with, they wanted a whole lot of money. So if we can offer those cheaply and in your own language, that would be really great for the community. I'm also setting up bilingual cosmetology classes with the cosmetology department. They've been amazingly welcoming to me. They're great with, let's experiment, let's try this, see what happens. Claudia graduated from the college in 2022 or 2020, and she's going to come back and be an assistant teacher to help make that. Not only will they learn English, but they'll also learn cosmetology at the same time. So making use of your time, making use of your resources. Like I said, AutoCAD with Eduardo. Bilingual business and web design with Felipe. He's got so many skills, I didn't even know what to have him teach. Like I said, bilingual conversation classes with multiple teachers, and GED prep. I did have, just like the girl that was crying a little bit, I tried to set up GED classes this summer and they didn't work out. The people told me they were at the wrong times and they didn't want it in person and they were too expensive. So I'm going to try it a different way. In August, and the teacher, he's been so flexible. He said, no, that's fine, Monica, I'll do it again. I'll try it again, no worries. So we're going to try it online and in the evenings. I know I'm a little long, but hopefully I'm entertaining you, so that's okay. So sometimes it feels like this. This is called Eli Plays All the Positions. Like, you're thinking you're doing so good, and you're really not. But then you finally, thanks to a group of people helping you, get to where you're supposed to be. So I do feel like that sometimes. What we're also working on, electrical classes, HVAC, all the construction trade jobs that pay really well would be really great for all the customers if they were all really trained by the state and regulated too. And this is where Judy had thought of me. We have a new coworker too. I'm not the only one that speaks Spanish at the college, thankfully. I do have some other coworkers that do, and Eusebio is new. He started this year, so it's a few more months after me. We're working together on Spanish for healthcare professionals, and he oversees phlebotomy, interpreter training, NA1, NA2 classes and more, and whatever else JV in the community asks us for. So he does a whole lot. But like you saw with the Kim Kardashian picture, money, dinero, makes it happen. So we're really excited about trying to take a new approach to bilingual nurse aid CNA classes. Thanks to a $90,000 grant from Novant Health, we're gonna get a class that will be able to help both English-speaking patients and Spanish-speaking patients for the large gap in nurse aid that we have in our community. With their grant, we'll be able to educate up to 120 CNA or nurse aides for free, and that'll be huge for them because they're having to give up their work time or possible work time in order to get educated. So the least we can do is make good use of the places that'll be employing them in the future and make it happen for them for free. So that's going to be amazing and a huge help. So what are our goals? Is to have us be what's called an HSI college, Hispanic Serving Institution. That would be awesome, make JB very happy. And once again, have him with his FTE, which will it feeds back into the college. It helps us have more classes and more help. It's all cyclical. So we're really excited about it. I'm very excited about it. I'm happy they interviewed me 7 times. And hopefully after this, I'll still have my job. This is my last video clip. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Oh, we're working on the Lexington Latino Association. I haven't worked with the multicultural committee yet, but I'd be more than happy to. That's also what I'm learning. I'm learning everything over here because I'm new. So any suggestions, any ideas, any questions are always helpful to me because then I know what to be looking at. Anybody else? Thank you guys.
Monica, thank you so much. Maybe thank you for your vision with this initiative, and Monica, for all you're doing. I think I applaud you for that vision. I think it's a tremendous step for our community, as well as David County as a whole. I love seeing the diversity at this table right here. I would love for us to have more like this in our club. You ladies, thank you for being here as guests. If you're ever interested in joining our club, please talk to us about that, because I know that folks like you have the ability to reach people that we're not currently reaching. And so I really like seeing this table. So thank you guys for being here. Any other questions, comments, announcements before we adjourn today?